But returning still to Marxist political economy, the economic crisis that shook the global financial markets in 2007 to 2008 and for years afterwards was considered by many a vindication of Marxist theories. But by and large, the liberal market institutions won the day implementing austerity policies. Still, the financial crisis did revitalize a lot of Marxist and post-Marxist economic and political research, as financial capital fell flat on its face, surprising quite a few analysts, credit rating agencies, economists, and even national governments who were expected to understand the economy and manage economic risks. A Marxist view is that the markets cannot be fully predicted, as its agents are people, social actors, and not ironclad natural laws. The tendency of capitalism to go into crisis in search of profits with recklessness has been made evident time and again. The financial crisis seemingly reaffirmed Marxist theory of the endemic crisis within capital, as financial bubbles have been created in technology industries and in housing. These bubbles mean that the market has evaluated the value of the commodities incorrectly, and when an extraneous market shock forces the markets to reevaluate the value of these products, they are found lacking. Capitalism intensifies the willingness to take economic risks. This is particularly the case with finance capital. Global capital knows no state, though it remains largely in Western hands. The increased growth of the size and relevance of finance capital to global capitalism has supercharged the tendency of capital to overaccumulate as profits. As capital overaccumulates, capitalists become frantic in their search for reproducing profits. At once, this can be seen as driving progress, but it is also driving instability in the global capitalist system. The financial markets have stepped up to create a wealth of different investment tools which transform it to what Marx would call fictitious capital, which it has no material basis in commodities or otherwise productive labor. It breaks the previous money to commodity to money formula into money to money formula, which shows how money it has as the vehicle of value becomes the de facto value in itself. This is not surprising to Marx, as capitalist financial crisis took place already in his lifetime. Fictitious capital is particularly unpredictable and volatile as it reproduces itself, building further layers of ones and zeros that come to dominate even the concrete commodity production chains. The instruments of financial capital are extremely complicated and rely on professional workforce which is assumed to control it and direct it productively. In effect, part of the economy operates on faith alone. The outcome of the financial crisis, a crisis of fictitious capital, led to a crisis in the housing sector and thus poverty and homelessness in the United States, but also a collapse of the national economy in Greece. A market failure was quickly reframed as a moral failure of particular states or even cultures, a division into responsible and irresponsible states. Political economists like Mark Blyth have criticized how a crisis in finance was turned into a crisis in public finances, or financing necessary social services. National states were pushed into economic austerity, meaning cuts in services in search of financial stability, while the financial institutions that were the originators of the crisis were bailed out and more or less resumed to business as usual. The financial institutions were deemed too big to fail, and thus needed saving. No similar consideration was extended to states or citizens. In effect, citizens saved capital. Even the handling of the crisis in the 2010s reflected Marx's idea of capital profits being privately appropriated, while capital losses were socialized for everyone to pay off. This contributes to rising inequality in society. On one hand, the activity of the central banks in the financial crisis made them more flexible to react to the COVID-19 crisis that came later. This may be a new step in finance capitalism, central bank capitalism. But on the other hand, already calls for austerity are being heard from mainstream economics and politics, and we must quickly return to normal, unquote. So, to summarize this lengthy lecture on Marxist political economy, I have some final thoughts to offer. Marxist political economy links up with a critical tradition of social research which tends to eschew positivist approaches in favor of a more normative approach, meaning transformative critique. Marxist political economy can serve as the theoretical backdrop for both quantitative and qualitative analysis. The emancipatory political goals of Marxist political economy seeks to reveal and dismantle structures of dominance, exploitation, inequality, both domestically and globally. Marxist political economy has a clear weakness. It is rooted in the kind of industrial production that Marx witnessed, and as such, it poorly accounts for non-manufacturing work like care or housework. These are considered more adequately in other traditions of political economy, meaning feminist or post-Marxist traditions. Drawing on Marxist political economy, social emancipatory goals can be expanded beyond social class to cover minorities or to address the climate crisis, seeing the capitalist mode of production as the root cause of the problems humanity currently faces. After this lecture, you should read the 2 articles that have been linked to the course on Moodle and reflect back on the lecture as you read them. How can you apply the ideas of Marxist political economy to their topics is something that you should consider and discuss on the forums. At the end here, we also have a list of references and resources, journals and books for further reading. I hope you found this lecture on Marxist political economy enlightening or interesting, and I hope you learned something new. Thank you very much for joining me for this lecture, and I hope to see you again in the following lecture on post-Marxist political economy.